We can reveal that in France last July, a powder from Holland used to cut cannabis was examined and found to contain tiny particles of glass. In August, sand was found, then rockwool and quartz. Now there are calls for the British police to become more involved.
Although it's an illegal drug, we can use our police and customs services to trace the source of the contaminated products and crack down hard on those who are producing them.
But the police say cannabis is not the only issue in the clampdown on growers.
The issue here isn't just cannabis production. The issue that we're looking at here is serious and organised crime.
The trade has attracted a Vietnamese gang. In the last 6 months, police have raided 20 of their cannabis factories in Cardiff.
The exploitation of migrant workers, but it's also the money laundering and the violence that they bring with them that is a key aspect that means that we will tackle this criminality.
But some insist that the new problem of contaminated cannabis stems from the police enforcement.
This is a danger caused entirely by the law, not by cannabis. This is an additional danger to anything that cannabis may present, and it's entirely avoidable.
I think if you choose to break the law by dealing in unlawful goods, and also those who drive the market, those who buy and use these goods as well, they're choosing to break the law and enter into what they don't know they're buying. And that's the element of the criminality here.
Long-term drug users, like the members of Goldie Looking Chain, admit they take a chance every time they buy drugs.
If you're going to use drugs, it's a risk you've got to take, you know? That's why I don't bother with heroin, because you can die from that.
But children are smoking cannabis. Would they know the difference between contaminated and non-contaminated drugs?
It's a case of educating people, do you know what I mean? I mean, through this wonderful medium of television, we can let the kids know that, you know, perhaps all is not as it seems. Check and check again.
But even with education and warnings, would young smokers say no if they were offered contaminated cannabis?
Even if they knew of the health scare, would they still get it? Even if they knew, well, perhaps it's damaging me psychologically and physically, it's going to do that anyway. Even if it's got impurities in it, I'm going to have a go. And that's the question we need to ask.
Last week, Paul Flynn received a package through the post. It contained what was described as contaminated cannabis.
Someone did suggest they were going to send me a packet of the contaminated cannabis, and I presume this is it. This arrived through the post this morning after being screened by the House of Commons and not spotted. It would be very worrying if this is contaminated and dangerous to people's health, because there's absolutely no sign that there's anything wrong with it. But I presume the person who sent it to me, who sounds like a very serious person, who is genuinely concerned about the health consequences, has some good reason for believing this is a dangerous form of cannabis.
Finally, last week, the Department of Health issued a warning about the contaminated cannabis.
Well, I think the government has taken this seriously, but of course, there are very few people who have actually seen the health warning. But I think we need to make sure that that warning goes out to any potential user of cannabis, particularly those who are using it for the relief of pain.
But unfortunately, the health warning was only issued in England. Cardiff Vale NHS Trust said they'd not heard about it and suggested we contact the Welsh Assembly government. We did. And at that point, it was clear that they had not issued a health warning.
I'd certainly be contacting my colleagues in the Welsh Assembly to give them the same message, and hope that the message will go out as well.
Later, the Welsh Assembly government said in a statement it had received reports, but not through the usual systems. The information has now been distributed. The spokesman added, "We will investigate why there was a breakdown in information transfer, but will point out that it was issued as soon as we were made aware. Campaigners hope that the warning hasn't come too late."
We are hearing people saying they're having a tight chest. I haven't actually heard of anything serious yet that I could say for certain is due to it. But how quickly does silicosis take hold? It's not something that will happen immediately. You know, this is something which will come to light in a few years' time if it's going to. It's a time bomb.
Paul Flynn has given Gwent Police the cannabis samples sent to him. After the break, we're back on Anglesey for our 5th investigation into its troubled planning system.